Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to get into it about the most beautiful, challenging, frustrating, most beneficial thing that you can do for your child and for yourself. So today we're talking about breastfeeding, y'all. So like I told you early on, my husband and I decided to take classes. That was one of the classes that we took. In that class, we received this book. It is just simply called Breastfeeding, Keep It Simple. And it's by Amy Spangler. She has quite a bit of credentials behind her name. So the title and all the information on the book will be in the comments below. So make sure y'all check it out if you're interested. So what do we know about breastfeeding? I'm sure that y'all know everything about what it does for your child. So some of the benefits, there are 200 nutrients in your milk, one being DHA, which is significant to brain growth and development, but that is only good up to the first 6 months. After that, you have to start finding things that have iron, vitamin D, and protein and things like that, because then your baby needs to move to those next steps. But by then they'll be eating more solid foods or purees, you know. So babies who breastfeed actually have fewer ear infections. Did not know that. But when you are nursing, your child is laying to the side. So this ear is getting it, then you switch, that ear is getting it. And it's just working through and, you know, keeping away any illnesses. It reduces the risk of pneumonia, SIDS, childhood obesity, and diabetes. And I know this is about to rock the boat, but if you are someone who is vaccinating your child, it has been proven that it helps with vaccinations. I cannot tell you that you should be vaccinating your child, because no one can tell me who is vaccinating their child not to. But I can tell y'all, every time my son has been vaccinated, of course he's hurt, he's in his feelings. So I nurse, he calms down immediately, but I have never actually given my son a pain reliever after his shots. He's never begun to have a fever. So I figured, well, he's good. We massage his injection sites at bath time, and of course when he's done, he's pretty poof. So we let him nap when he gets home, and he's his old self by the evening. So that's what it's been for us. Now, here's the kicker. If you didn't know, moms, it is super beneficial for you. I did not know this, okay? But it helps with weight loss. It supports breast health. So it lessens your risk of breast cancer. It also lessens your risk of uterine and ovarian cancer. Didn't know these things. Also, mastitis is a thing. If you don't know what it is, it's basically like your ducts clog up and they're infected, and it's, from what I've been told, because I haven't personally experienced it, but from what I've been told, it is very painful. So what we were told in the class was, if you do contract mastitis, continue to nurse. Pushing that milk and trying to work through those ducts that are infected is the best way to get it to run its course and be over with quickly. But if you've also been doing your research, y'all know the cabbage leaves will help as well. They kind of help with the pain and with soothing and all that good stuff. But you have to make sure you change them out regularly, because then there's a risk of bacteria and things like that, of course. You actually have less bleeding after giving birth, which is so weird, because even though I did have a C-section, I didn't feel like I was just bleeding forever after I gave birth to my son. And it didn't, like, it's a process. You'll see when you get there, or if you've already been there, you know what I'm talking about. But every time you nurse, it helps your uterus to contract. And so with that happening, it's pushing everything out and it's tightening everything up, and it's just moving forward. So I guess that's about how it works. That, like I told y'all before, I'm not a medical professional, so yeah, do your own research. It also helps with bone health, which is awesome because once you're pregnant, you are at a greater risk for osteoporosis, because while you're pregnant, everything goes out of whack. Your immune system is terrible. Your bones get weak because it's giving every bit of calcium that you have to your baby. And basically your body just turns into jelly because it's making sure that it can accommodate all the changes that you're going to go through. So there's that. So financially, you save up to $1,000 the first year because all you're doing is nursing, right? And of course, you know, the baby food comes in, but for the most part, you're saving money in the beginning. And then it's so convenient because it's always ready. It's right here in stock, ready to go. So, moms, that is how you win. You know, I get it. It's a struggle, but there is a lot that it does for you. So, now, and I talk about mom and baby, and if you're a dad watching this, and then you're like, okay, well, what about me? Okay, so ways that you can still be involved, dads. Learn everything you can about it. You can also be helpful. You can help with positioning. So if your wife is having trouble, and trust me, it's a lot, because you always have pillows that you're trying to get under you, and you got one hand and you're trying to get comfortable and figure out how to get the baby where they need to be. So dad, you can help with positioning. Before and after, you can change the diaper just so that you and baby are getting that one-on-one time. You know, tell mom, like, yeah, go sit down. I got him. I'll bring him to you when I'm done. Make her be separate. Because in the beginning, mom is everything. She's food, she's comfort, she's that heartbeat that he or she has been listening to for the past 9 months. She's everything. She's the only familiarity they have in this new world that makes no sense. So you have to be the one to say, go take a break. I got you. I got this. I'll bring them to you when I'm done. So you can help with diapering. You can help with positioning. After mom is done, you can take them and burp them. And you can even be that guy for mom, right? So while she's feeding your child, feed her. There is nothing more romantic than a man feeding his woman. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm gonna say. Be encouraging. You know, you have to be that backbone for her, because it's not easy. People think, oh yeah, I'm gonna breastfeed and I'm just gonna put the baby on there and it's gonna be perfect. That's not true. It takes practice, like with anything. And neither of you know what you're doing. Unless you're a second, third, fourth, whatever time mom, you don't know what you're doing. And the child definitely doesn't know what they're doing. They're like in brand new territory. They're like, look, you're gonna have to put me where you need me. So be encouraging, praise your partner for her efforts, you know, just be that person. All right. So, like I said before, make time to spend with baby alone. Go for a walk, you know, just walk around the house, walk around the neighborhood, read a book. You know, if there is music that you like and you kind of want your kid to like it, you know, be the person that puts them down for a nap playing your music. Something like that, you know, but just insert yourself. Because like I said, mom is everything. She's the main one. So you have to find a way to get in there, because if you don't, when baby gets to that point where they only want their person that is their comfort, you won't be on that list. I've seen it happen firsthand. So make sure you're inserting yourself, Dad. Now, this is a big one. A huge one. And this is for Dad and Mom. If you're feeling jealousy or anger, you need to talk about it. You need to take that time with your partner alone. There's another thing. Y'all need alone time. At least once a week. At least. I'm not saying just, okay, once a week we did it, whatever. At least once a week. Y'all need alone time. Y'all need to sit down and talk. If you're feeling angry or jealous about your place in the household at any time, it needs to be expressed. Because, Dad, you're in your feelings, and what are you going to do when you're upset? You withdraw. So then, Mom, who may feel like she's doing so much, she's doing everything anyway, and then you withdraw, so then she's definitely doing everything, she's going to resent you. Just like you're resenting her. And feeling like, oh, she only cares about the baby. Where do I fit in? Y'all need to talk. You have to stay in open communication. That's the only way this thing's going to work. Just keep that in mind, because I'm telling you from firsthand experience, I see how some couples don't make it through the birth of a child. I see now. Because there are a lot of hormones, a lot of emotions. There's a lot of miscommunication, no communication. You're sleep deprived. And no one is taking that step to figure out what we need to do to get to being back to normal. So make sure y'all are spending time together, just the two of you. You know, when baby goes out, even if it's for a couple of hours, when baby takes a nap, sit up, watch a movie, do something. I get it. Sleep when the baby sleep. Yeah, that's all well and good. Take time for each other. Okay? That's all I'm saying on that. Now, some of the cons to breastfeeding, like I just said, you're sleep deprived like crazy. Because you're supposed to feed every 3 hours. So a lot of times you'll nurse. It may take you about 20 minutes for baby to latch. Then it may take about 30 minutes total, because you might do 15 here, 15 on the other side. And that's just in the beginning, okay? It tends to draw itself out as the time goes, okay? So every 3 hours you're supposed to nurse, whether they're sleeping, whether they're awake, doesn't matter. Every 3 hours, period. So, there are times when I personally have gotten up to nurse my son, struggle to get him on, finally get him to nurse, end up falling asleep while he's nursing for about an hour or so, wake up, try to put him back down, 30 minutes later he's crying to feed again. And my son had day and night confusion as well, which we will talk about later. But yes, I was up all the time. And the only thing that saved me was the fact that my husband didn't allow the whole, gender role thing to be a thing. Because I am a stay-at-home mom, as I've said before. And he ended up being able to stay with me for 6 weeks, which was crazy, because we didn't even think that he would be able to stay home that long. But the way that things just worked out, I got 6 weeks with my husband and my new baby, and it was the best thing that could have happened to us, because even though we were tired as all get out. We were tired together. And we made it work, you know. But yeah, I remember being like, bump it, let's do formula. I was so exhausted. But yes, sleep deprivation is real. And also, the breast and nipple pain is so real, okay? Because your breasts are engorged. They're like so full, they're heavy. It just hurts to touch them. It hurts to put clothes over them. It's terrible. And then your nipples are super sensitive. And then on top of that, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. My son didn't know what he was doing. So we're having these terrible latches. And like my nipples were terrible, okay? Oh, and just so you know, fun fact, if you are having problems with latching, no, first thing, if you're having problems latching, you have your baby here, if your latch is really bad and it's painful, take a clean finger, most likely your pinky, and you just put it into the side of baby's mouth. And that will break the suction, and you can pull away without them basically tearing at your nipple as you're pulling away. And a really good tip that I got from a midwife was that if you are, you know, chafing and your breasts are really sore, after you're done nursing, to manually express a bit of breast milk onto your fingers and just rub it around the areola and the nipple and pull your bra up, and just do that after every feeding until you feel healed. And I did that and it actually worked. I mean, you can use the creams and the nipple butter and stuff, and you can do the nipple guards and stuff. It's all the power to you, nothing against it. But if you want to save a little money, that is something else that you can have in your arsenal. The last thing is your breasts will change. They will change. Like the size of them will change. They'll either get bigger or they'll get smaller. And then the shape may change because you have a little person just pulling at you and doing things. And of course they lose their volume sometimes. And so your breasts will change and you will start to feel a kind of way, you know. So in addition to the breastfeeding, they also change with pregnancy, of course, age, heredity, gain or loss of weight, and yeah, so you get a new body all the way around. You get a new body. So, you know, you just gotta embrace it. But yeah, so this book has been everything to me, okay? It really has, because not only does it talk about all the benefits and things like that, it gets into the things about the positions, right? So this is Rattles. This is my son's teddy bear. So he's gonna help me with positions. So we have, let's see, what do we have here? So, because it's been a while since I've had to do a lot of these. So we have cross cradle, where you hold the baby here and you bring him here. This is cross cradle position. We have regular cradle, which everybody knows. Football position. You bring baby to the side with a pillow and you bring them just straight to this side. We have the reclining position, where you can lay back and just let baby kind of go for it on their own. And then you have sideline position, where you can lay down and have baby there. This is great for at night, because if you're in the bed, you already have sleep, you put a pillow up behind that kid, you bring them here, perfect position. They can do that. And then all you have to do is roll over to your other side and continue on your other breast. Super easy. I liked it from time to time. But for the most part, I sat up in a chair usually just because I knew I was going to go back to sleep. And I didn't want to keep falling asleep even though it was basically inevitable. I was so tired. I always fell asleep nursing. Um, so, yeah. But the other thing that it talks about are hunger cues. And if you don't know what those are, basically the things to look for when your child is probably hungry. Because baby is going to cry a lot about anything. And so, just so that you're not like, okay, I just changed your diaper. What's wrong with you? Okay, we're laughing, we're playing, we're walking around. What do you need? Baby could just be hungry, you know, and you be like, well, you just ate. Yeah, but if they're cluster feeding, it's kind of like what it is. Like, you just got to keep feeding. So, things to look for. So, if baby starts licking their lips and kind of, you know, sucking on their hand a little bit and making smacking noises and kind of squirming and getting fussy, yeah. Make sure you choose a comfortable position. And when you are getting into your position, make sure that you're always supporting your breast as well as your baby's head and neck. So you always want to have full control over baby's head and neck and your breast so that you can do all the guiding to make sure they have a full-on latch. You don't just want your nipple in there. You want a good bit of your areola in there as well. And that's the thing that's the way that people end up having that bad latch, because they're thinking, okay, you got the nipple, you're good. No, they need a good amount of the areola as well. And so there's this thing that a lactation consultant showed me in the hospital, but basically you squeeze, like you almost make a sandwich out of your nipple. And she actually squirted my baby in the face, okay? Trying to show me, and she squirted my baby right in the face because my milk was flowing when I first had my son. Like, it was no problem with getting it out. But yeah, she squirted my baby, y'all. So, you know, if baby is kind of like, I mean, I'm kind of hungry, but I don't know. You can manually express, like I told y'all earlier. Basically, you kind of go around your boob and you kind of massage it a bit. And then when you get up to the, you know, around the nipple and areola, you just start to squeeze a little bit and it'll push out some. So early on, of course, you'll have colostrum. And so you can just squirt a little bit of it out and just rub your nipple in your baby's mouth, and they'll start to open their mouth. And then you can just do the sandwich and squish it in. So, yeah. You can also tickle your baby's nose with your nipple, because then they'll smell it. And then, you know, as you bring it down to their mouth, they'll start to taste it. And that'll also help you to get them to open their mouth. You also want to make sure to check your baby's nose, cheek, chin, and lips. So when you have your nipple in their mouth, you want to make sure their nose is not being covered. You want to make sure that their cheeks are actually kind of like, you know, making the sucking motion. And their chin, you kind of want to make sure their chin is like down, and so that they can actually get it into their mouth. And you want to make sure their lips are completely open, because if baby's mouth is like this, they're not getting it like they need to. Their lips need to be open, and you can move their lips around your nipple once your nipple is in their mouth, and just make sure they have a good solid contact to really get the breast milk. And make sure that you're not watching the clock. Don't watch the clock to try to keep time. Let your baby nurse as long as they want to nurse. Because, like I said, they have to eat every 3 hours, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's from when you first start. And so, a lot of times, moms will be like, okay, we usually do 15 and 15. So, I'm going to do 15 here. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Okay, 15 here. And they're like, okay, you should be done. But you may not have had enough letdowns that baby needs to be done. So make sure that you're not watching the clock. Watch your baby. If they're in a milk coma, they're done. If they're still looking at you like, oh, you got more for me, keep going. Because I promise you, when they do go into that milk coma, you'll be able to rest easy for a little bit. And like I showed you with the finger, when they're done, unless they, let go and they're sleeping or whatever, you want to make sure that you break the suction before you take baby off of your breast, because it will be painful, especially if they've been sucking for a while. It's going to be tender, so just keep that in mind. And you always offer both, always. Even if you're pumping, always offer both, and you want to start your next feeding on the opposite breast. Because 9 times out of 10, if baby started on your right side and then they finished on the left, 9 times out of 10, they did more feeding on that right side than the left. The left was just dessert, you know what I'm saying? So when you start back up, start on the left and then finish up with the right. Alright, y'all gonna get on me because I know how it is with pacifiers, and I love a pacifier as much as the next person. I wanted my son to be a passy baby. He is not. He never took the pacifier. He's a thumb sucker. But we were encouraged to speak with our nurses and things like that at the hospital when he was born, and to let them know that we did not want him to have a pacifier at the hospital. And thankfully, the way our hospital was set up, they did not even give out a pacifier, which was weird to me, because any other child that I've ever seen born, the nursery always provided a little hat and a pacifier. But they said if you want a pacifier, you have to bring it yourself. So we didn't bring one. And so we learned in the class, like, you don't want to start with a pacifier, and you don't want to start bottle feeding for a few weeks, just so that baby does not have to deal with nipple confusion. Because when you're nursing, they know exactly what's going into their mouth. They're like, okay, that's the nipple, that's where I get my food. But if you're giving them nipple, bottle, and pacifier, they're like, okay, well, wait a minute, which one has the food? And so then you'll start to have issues where baby doesn't want to take certain things, and then you may also have the issue of your child becoming full, because they're sucking. They're doing the sucking motion that they would if they were nursing. So their brain is like, okay, you're full, you're good, you don't need to eat anything. So you're giving them a pacifier the whole time that they're not nursing, and then you try to put them on your breast. They're not going to nurse and get all the nutrients that they need, because their body is telling them they don't need to eat. So make sure that in the beginning you're kind of holding off on certain things like bottles and pacifiers because of those things. But that's your baby. You do you. And also, if you're serious about exclusively nursing, hold off on supplements. Don't bring in formula as well. Don't give your baby water and things like that, because your breast milk has everything it needs. That's all. Really just try to relax and enjoy your baby. Do not let it stress you out if your child isn't reacting the way that you want them to, or if you feel like you're failing at it. Like, just keep trying, keep practicing. If it gets to the point you really are not seeing a difference, try a lactation consultant. Get in touch with your medical team. Talk to somebody, but, don't give up. But if you feel like it's an uphill battle and you're tired of fighting it, all the power to you, all the respect in the world. Like, I get it. I've heard stories of how some moms who wanted to do everything they could for their child the way that they thought was best just did not work out. So they turned to formula. They turned to donor milk, you know, things like that. They just did what they had to do, and that's what we all have to do. We have to do what we have to do. So don't let anybody change you. You do you. Oh, so you know how you gotta feed every 3 hours. Ways that you can wake your baby if you're trying to wake them up to feed and they're like, I'm done, get out of my face. So you can undress them a little bit, like take their socks off and kind of tickle their feet. And if it's at night, you definitely want to have a low light, but you can kind of turn on a soft light to keep the room kind of dim but wake baby up enough. Another way, you can take like a lukewarm kind of cool compress and kind of just rub it on their face, rub it on their feet. And then if all else fails, change them. Like, just open that diaper up, you know, and put a little, you know, wipes are usually cooler. So put that wipe on them. They will, ooh, they be mad too. But it's worth it. You're sleep deprived, wake that butt And, you know, honestly, the amount of times you nurse, it's just up to you and your baby. Y'all will get into the groove of things. Y'all will figure out what works. You'll figure out how much your baby needs to be full. So don't really worry about how long you're supposed to be doing it. You know, when your baby, you know, comes off of the latch, or you just notice that they're asleep and you know, break the latch, you're done. You're good. You did your part. But I will tell you, the average size feeding during the first week. So day one, your baby is not going to get a lot. They're going to get 1 to 3 teaspoons of colostrum. Day 3, they get about 1 ounce. And then day 7, they're still like 1 to 2 ounces of milk. So yeah, it's not a lot. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, my baby's not eating. Their stomach ain't but that big. It's small. It's super small. So you don't have to worry about it. But ways that you can tell your baby is getting enough, besides falling asleep on you, they are active and alert when they're awake. They're happy and satisfied. You've breastfed at least 8 times in 24 hours. They're suckling and swallowing. So you actually want, it's hard to explain the sound that they make, but you know, they'll bring it in and then you can just kind of see their jugular go, you know, just kind of make a swallowing thing. It's weird. You'll see. And they won't be losing weight. They'll actually be gaining, because your baby will lose weight right after birth, but they should not continue to lose weight. They should actually start gaining probably about 3 or 4 days after being home. And they'll gain at least 5 ounces each week after the first week. They should have 3 or more poops and 6 or more wet diapers a day by day 5 after, you know, after birth. And their poop will be yellow around day 5. These are all things that you should see that will assure you that your child is actually getting enough milk. And their urine should also be either clear or a light yellow color. Alright, so that is it for those things. As you can see in the title, you know, I consider myself a breastfeeding beast, you know, but I am a pumping failure, like utter failure. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this quick. I tried to pump probably 6 weeks after my son was born, because I was exclusively breastfeeding, so I was like, I'm good. I probably pumped for about 2 months, And that was because I was starting to get out the house and, you know, just kind of take a minute for myself. So I would try to make sure I had a bottle or two for my husband. And so in the beginning it was good. It was okay, you know, but I was kind of not finding my groove because I was still exclusively breastfeeding. Like, I'm not going to deprive my child to make bottles. It didn't make sense to me. And so I can show y'all here. I actually got my pump through insurance. Make sure y'all check y'all insurance, because they will give you a free pump included, you know, under your policy. I went with Medela, and there are a lot of different types that they will actually offer you, but it's up to you. Whatever one that you want, whatever research you've done. I went with Medela. They had good reviews, and you know, of course, my medical team, you know, in the centering class and everything, they spoke highly of it. So I was like, bump it. I just need a pump. You know, I'll see what I even do with it. And so they give you kind of like the base model. These are all the things included. So they give you the actual pump. You get a couple of bottles. You get the cups. They give you the adapter and all that good stuff. And so, yeah. It was all there, and I'm glad that I didn't let my husband go crazy on the pump that he wanted, because it was ridiculously priced, and I ended up really not using it like I thought I would. So, I did okay, but by about month 4, I was tired of the baby weight. I decided to go on a diet, not knowing that I had to keep my calorie count up to between 1,800 and 2,000 calories a day. And so I ended up messing up my milk supply, y'all. I did it, and I regret it every day. But I ended up finding ways to replenish it. I found an awesome lactation smoothie. I also will have that in the comments below. I found the Milky Mama Lactation cookies. Oh my goodness, they are so bomb. And I upped my water intake, because you have to drink a lot of water. I wake up drinking water. I go to bed drinking water. I drink water all day long. I don't drink soda. I don't drink a lot of juices. But I was already trying to lose weight, so I was trying to keep my water intake to about 1 gallon a day. After I, diminished my milk supply, I bumped it up to 1.5 gallons. And now I'm trying to get back up to the 1.5 gallons, but the gallon is enough. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that my son has only drank about 4 bottles his entire life. And I bet now if I even tried to give him a bottle, he'd look at me like I'm crazy. I mean, not to mention he is drinking a sippy cup now, but he would look at me like I'm crazy. But yeah, so that was just my experience. I'm not saying that pumping is going to be hard for everyone. You have to really know what you're doing, because those cups, oh my goodness, if you use the wrong one, or if you don't have your breasts in it correctly, it can be painful, and it can just feel like a waste of time and things like that. And so I gave myself a hard time for a little bit about that, but I had to get over it, because at the end of the day, my breasts never reacted to the pump as well as it reacted to my son. And so as long as he was able to still nurse, I was good. So yeah, that is it. Yeah, just do what works for you. So now my son is 17 months old. Oh my gosh, he'll be 18 months in like 2 weeks. That's crazy. But I am still nursing. But it's changed. It really has changed a lot. Of course, he's solid food, so that is the bulk of his diet. The only thing that has remained constant from the beginning is the fact that I still nurse him as soon as he wakes up. I nurse him to put him down for a nap in the afternoon, and then I nurse him at night before he goes to sleep. And that that has been the only constant in this whole thing. Now, sometimes there are some days where he can take or leave, you know, the milk. Like, he's like, okay, I'm good. Because now he's eating 3 meals a day with 2 snacks in there somewhere. So he's eating very well. It's just, it's routine, it's familiar. And especially now with all the development that he's experienced. I learned from a website, kellymom.com, a nurse at the hospital, she spit some game to me. She was like, check out Kelly Mom, they have everything, and they do. So if you need that information will also be in the comments below. But I checked it out about toddlers and self-weaning, because like I said, sometimes he could take or leave it. So I was like, okay, maybe he's about to self-wean, because I was feeling like he didn't need it as much anymore. And they said that you will start to see it, you know, but then there are other days where he can't, I just can't get him off me. And what happens is your child is learning how to do all these new things, but you're the only constant, the only familiarity from day one up until now that is the same. Because my son is walking, he's doing his best version of talking, he's feeding himself, and he's helping with dressing and undressing himself. So with all these new developments, he's like, wait, but I kind of still need mommy. So, you know, some days I just feel like my breasts are out all day, and there'll be times where he'll come up, he'll walk up to me, and I'll nurse a little bit, and then he'll walk away, and then as soon as I go to put my shirt down, he turns around and he yells at me. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm just sitting there until he figures out what he wants to do. So, but yeah, but things have changed a lot. But at the end of the day, the #1 benefit that is so special about it is that bond between you and your baby. Like, it's unbreakable. No matter how big they get, like, they're still going to need that comfort. They're still going to need that moment just to be close to you like they're used to, you know. Because yeah, I feel like he doesn't need me most days. Before the quarantine, my man was getting social with other children and even other adults. So I was just like, he's growing up, you know. But they always find their way back. So, you know, there's no wrong way to nurture your child. There's no wrong way to feed your baby. I just decided to go this way, and it has been a very rewarding, challenging, but rewarding journey. So I'm gonna keep it going. I don't know how long it's gonna be until we wean. Either I wean him off, or he decides it's just something he doesn't want to do anymore. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably not gonna go into, you know, like 3-4 years old. I don't think I could do that. And if I do end up getting pregnant again, you know, anytime soon, I will probably start trying to wean him by then, because I'm not going to have 2 children on me at the same time. It's hard enough with one. I'm not doing 2. Yep. But that is my take on breastfeeding. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. And I got a lot more coming, y'all. So keep coming back. Make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Like me on Facebook. Follow me on Insta. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time.